So I think here we got a lot to learn from internet governance. IETF and ICANN and all the rest of these bodies, kind of built the internet up in layers with a lot of ability to standardize things like hardware, right? The fact that you can successfully buy a router from almost anywhere in the world, plug it into your network, and it works. Same thing with mobile phones. The standards body for that is what's it called again? Hands out the IMEI numbers, GSMA, GSM Association. All of those bodies, they're one half of an innovation ecosystem. The other half of the innovation ecosystem is Tim Berners-Lee hacking away in his physics lab, trying to find a better way of showing people his preprints than sticking them up on an FTP server and then sending people a login. Really, you need this thing where there is heavy institutional standards bodies on one side, kind of helping the hardware people get their stuff together. And then on the other side of it, you need this innovation to be able to run over the stuff that these standards bodies are producing. And then that stuff itself eventually becomes successful and becomes part of the standardization. What we have in crypto is staggering amounts of super, super heavyweight process on things like Ethereum, the development process for proof of stake. That's an example of a big IETF style process. Hundreds of devs working together, building the standards, getting all this stuff done. We've also got tens of thousands of various kinds of blockchain startups all doing bits and pieces. What we haven't built yet is the mechanisms where somebody gets a direct hit on something and says, okay, that's amazing. And then we figure out how to build standards around those points of success. So, if we're going to follow the trajectory of the internet, but on a kind of, 4x or 10x warp speed, we should be at a point in our development where you get things like wallet interoperability actually working. Okay, great. I think Wallet Connect is a fantastic example of that. What about the other 4 or 5 or 10 or 12 things that we need, like a standardized descriptor for a physical asset, a standardized descriptor for a piece of real estate, a standardized descriptor for whatever it happens to be? You need a semantics layer on top of just an ERC20 or an ERC721. And at this point, I'm going to make myself seem extremely old because I'm going to utter the magic words. Is everybody ready? Semantic web. You may all be too young to remember this, but there was a previous attempt to solve these problems about 20, 25 years ago, and it stalled. And that's why the most complicated thing you can buy over the internet right now is like, a bag of donuts or a new monitor. Like, solving that ability to get really clear information about valuable things transmitted over the internet, it's the direct counterparty to being able to use Bitcoin to make a payment. And if we can figure out how to retrieve a bunch of this work from semantic web, upgrade it for the modern technology, at that point we can build a harness which will result in an industry that's probably 20 times the size of e-commerce, because it will be all real estate, half of the investment instruments, all transportation vehicles. It will be things like plane tickets. It will be things like hotel reservations. Like 70% of the economy doesn't have a decent digital representation, depending on who you ask. And if we can figure out how to take the payment infrastructure we've got and the data storage infrastructure that we've got and get these semantic layers on top of it to do the asset representation stuff, including, by the way, provenance and asset history, the jump in the effectiveness of the global economy could be double digits of global GDP. That's the actual terrain that we're playing for. All the folks that think that the blockchain is just a way of moving money around, like, the money is the smallest aspect of this beast.